All right, Triple Crown here, January 27th, 2024. It is the Saturday, day 2 of Culture Collision. I decided that today I'm going to be a little bit more active walking around the show floor. Now, what I had heard from people kind of reporting to me coming up to our table is that it was a very difficult show to buy at. And I had some encounters walking around on the first day, but I didn't really get to fully break away from the table. I wanted to make sure I was helping my friends out. But now I got to really see what they were talking about, and it resulted in what I have to say is probably one of the most frustrating days I have ever had going around, walking around trying to buy. The prices, well, they speak for themselves. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's see what we got. It's honey blue down here.
Oh man, I can't know what that goes for. I think it's like $100 or so.
Alright, the first negotiation that I'm showing here is for this Roman Reigns Gold Shimmer. Now, Mike had told me that he was interested in this card, and I told him I would go over there and look at it, see what I could do for him. Ideally, he wanted to be around 500. We thought that that was a fair value for this card. None of these cards that these guys have are stickered with prices, unfortunately. That's a rant for a different day. But they tell me $800 on this Roman Reigns. Now, it is numbered to 5. In wrestling, they are out of 5 rather than 10. And I have a few different ways of kind of evaluating values on cards that are this low numbered. Number one is trusting my gut. I have a okay sense of what certain things may go for. Now, on wrestling, it's definitely not as good as it would be with a baseball or a football card. But I have a general idea based on some past Roman Reigns cards I have owned and also ones that I have seen sold recently. The second thing I'm going to do is look at different gold shimmers from this particular set. And I have that data for you right here. Here's a look at the sales data, and what I'm looking for here is what do the top names sell for. Now, wrestling is a lot different than most of the sports that you're used to. If you don't deal in the wrestling card market, a lot of times the sales are going to be strongest on the veterans and the big names, which is kind of counterintuitive. In football, if you're looking at Prism parallels, you'd kind of expect the big rookies to be the best sellers. That's not necessarily the case in wrestling. It's not as much about the rookies as it is the big name guys. So the guys who you don't need to have watched a second of professional wrestling to know who Hulk Hogan is, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. These are the guys that are among the most popular and usually among the best sellers. So I'm going through kind of checking on some of the big names that I recognize scrolling through here, and I'm not seeing any of these except for a handful selling for $800. I do see one Roman Reigns sale back near when the product first came out at $610. That does scare me a little bit. I won't go based off of that one sale alone. I do see this Rock one that pops up here at some point in the video that sold for $910 raw. I feel like the Rock arguably is the biggest name. So I don't know exactly where they're getting the 800 number at, and I'm going to ask them about that. And there's two reasons why I ask them. Is number one, is there really a good reason why? And number two, is there something that I'm missing here? Because, hey, this might not be a comprehensive list of sales. These apps have flaws. They don't always pick up on everything. So let's see what they have for me. You said 8 on this one? Yeah. Where'd you, just out of curiosity, where did you come up with 8 at on it?
The out of 10s were about $385 a pop. We couldn't find a 5.
Okay.
$385 a
I know 2 of the other ones are PC cards because on Whatnot, the guy, the breaker, actually pulled one. He kept his. Another guy was a huge Roman fan.
Yeah, there's a Reigns guy who usually scoops them up. Alright, they seem to be basing their pricing off of a few gold out of 10s that had sold in the 300s. I couldn't find those personally, but this is something I've talked about before. Just because it's a lower numbered parallel doesn't necessarily mean it will outsell the higher numbered parallels. In fact, if you asked most collectors out there, I'm sure they would tell you they would prefer the gold over the gold shimmer. So one of the other strategies that I will use to kind of figure out where their pricing insights are at is ask about other cards that I'm interested in. And if it's something that I'm more familiar with, I can kind of get a gauge because most of the time people price a lot of their cards the same way. And this will give me a better read on how these guys are handling business. Is your Harper red autographed or is it just a red?
What now? It's not an auto, it's just out of 5.
How much is that one?
350.
350, okay.
350 is kind of the high end for a Harper Red refractor. You'd probably expect to pay that on something that's more like a regular Topps Chrome Red or a Sapphire Red, one of those more sought after brands, not really something like a Chrome Platinum. And that's kind of the theme, asking about that and the Harper Superfractor, which he told me $3,000 on. It appears that he's taking a lot of the really high sales on some of these cards and using that as his baseline. So have these cards sold in that range before? Yes, but I don't know if they really encompass the true market value now, and that probably means we're not going to get something done here.
Pretty far off from your sticker. I'm just going to shoot my shot. It'll be at like $500 if you could do that.
Well, there's a guy over here with a bunch of wrestling cards. He's supposed to come back over here and buy it. So.
Yeah, he's my friend. So,
okay.
Yeah, I told him I'd come over and look at it and give my opinion.
I think he'll probably give me $5 for it. He's wanting it pretty bad.
We end up not agreeing to a deal. They said that they'd come over and visit Mike and talk to him about it. So I'll let him finish the job on this one. I'm off to find some more stuff for myself now. Is this cup numbered to 99 down here?
Actually, I think it might be low.
So in a previous conversation with my buddy Eric Those Back Pages, we had talked about how the show is going, and I told him that I wanted to swing for something bigger. He told me that if I found a card that I really liked and it was close to what I was willing to pay, even if I had to overpay a little bit, to go for it. And this guy has this Akuna Black refractor from 2018 Heritage. I love the Heritage Black refractors. This is rookie year for Akuna. These are numbered out of 69. I really want to have this. Now, looking at the sales of this card, here's what I found. One of these hasn't sold at auction since September 6th. That's not a huge surprise to me because these cards don't really pop up too often. You'll see the last two were at $1,285 and $1,100. And on these types of cards, I like to see the historical data on it because this is a card that I plan on having for quite some time. It's not one that likely will sell the very next day or as soon as I bring it back to my table. And because of that, I'm willing to pay a little bit more as long as it lines up with where this card has been in the past and where it will be in the future. To me, $1,500 is my max here. That's well above the last few sales. I think it's more than fair. The question is, how much is this dealer asking for it?
Gunner, I think, is $375 if I remember correctly. $375.
Okay. And then the Akuna Chrome Black.
That one, I believe, is $2,850. Yep, $2,850.
Wait a minute, am I hearing that right?
And then the Akuna Chrome Black.
That one, I believe, is $2,850. Yep, $2,850.
I'm not even sure what to say about that one. Now, I go back here about 20 minutes later without my GoPro on, and I'm talking to a different guy who's with this booth, and he tells me, after asking him, where do you come up with that number at, that he owns a shop in Atlanta, and he doesn't mind having it sit in his display case, which that's probably where it's going to stay for a while at $2,850. I just could not believe it. And there are several interactions that I didn't record prior to this where these prices are the same way, where these cards have never in their history sold for that kind of price. This is not a PSA 10, mind you. This is a PSA 9 of this card. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but this was probably one of the more shocking experiences I've had in a while. And it started to set the tone for what the rest of the day was going to look like.
Okay. Right now, I'm going to get closer to 6.
I got you, okay. And then the same thing on the Jamar. I just wanted to know, like, where...
The Jamar does like 500.
Okay.
That's put a big sticker on it.
I saw 3, like 4, 475, 5, so I was just trying to see, like, if there was something I was missing.
Not really.
Okay.
I would have to be around, I would have to be at 500 plus cash in order to make it work.
Yeah, okay.
After striking out a few more times, I find this dealer who has a lot of really cool stuff that I like, particularly those two Bengals right in the center, but there's also a Barry Sanders Obsidian Color Blast in the top right of his corner. I'm hoping to package at least one of those Bengals together with the Barry to see what we can come up with.
What's up?
Yeah, I can help you out. I got a little bit more room to bury than I do the kill season.
I got you, yeah.
Like I could go down a 3 on that. If you spend $20 to grade it, you in the green. If it gets a 9 and you get a 10, you get a $500 raise. I can do 3 on the berry.
Vic is a 9, and I saw a few at like 320, so it's a 9, it's kind of like an even swap.
Let me see.
Unfortunately, I had to cut off a large portion of this negotiation because we were right by the stage where there was a DJ playing some copyrighted music. But you catch the tail end of it here, and this was a problem that I ran into in this interaction and several others after it as well, where people are telling me, well, this will grade at least this. So if you send it in and you get a 9 or a 10, the problem is it's not already graded, and I'm not going to pay graded prices for cards because we presume that they're going to be at a certain grade. But this is something that happened over and over. More so on this Barry, a PSA 9 has sold the last 2 times right around the 320 mark. So after grading fees, if he's into it at 300, then kind of break even, right? And not really moving the needle one way to get a 9 on this card. Basically, it would become 10 or bust for me. The same thing with the Burrow. He tells me it's really clean, that it'll probably get at least a 9 if I sent it in. And I just don't want to play that game, right, where I have to rely on sending the card in, not having access to it for who knows how long, and then on top of that, I don't know what it's going to grade. So I can't really work with that. It's time to move on. But he was pretty cool overall. He was extremely nice to work with. Definitely better than some of the other interactions I had. Alright, I come back because I tell Justin that I'm pretty frustrated at this point and I can see he needs some help. So here's a little time lapse of me taking care of some things, but he's working on a really big purchase for this awesome downtown collection that we're about to work on getting priced and put back out because our showcases are starting to thin out a little bit. You can see me just kind of handling some value box stuff and pulling out some things for people to look at. And I thought that I'd get a little reprieve from my descent into madness until someone comes up and gives one of the worst lowballs I have ever seen.
You got a question?
You got any room on the T-Law?
What do you think of that?
November 5th, the auto.
Yes.
Black Pandora did 1,000.
Yeah, what do you think? 200? No, I can't do that, man.
I was stunned at this offer. So here's the actual sale that he is referring to here. Ours is a PSA 9 non-autograph version. The one he's showing is an authentic. Who knows what its condition really is, but the auto grade is a 9. The problem that he's not saying here is that is not the most recent sale of the autograph version. This is. And if you want to look at the most recent sale of our card, here it is raw. Now ours is a PSA 9. We have it at 1,100. Is that a little high? Possibly. But we're willing to work with you on this, especially if you show us a good sale to go off of. But $200, I don't know where he came up with this from. I'd want to try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I cannot see a way where that wasn't just a blatant lowball. I just couldn't believe it. And yeah, I was at a loss for words again. I thought the Akuna thing had me shocked. This probably shocked me a little bit more than that.
I can't pull this thing upside down.
Do you want me to try?
What are you thinking about here?
So at this point in this show, I wasn't feeling great. Not necessarily because of what was going on the show floor, but I hadn't really slept all the previous 2 nights. To give you an idea, after I go and make this deal, I went back to my room at the hotel at around 4 p.m., only woke up twice in the middle of the night, and did not get up again until 6 a.m. the next morning to go home. To say I was exhausted might be a bit of an understatement, but after all the rejection and the no deals on day 2, I did end up finally making one really nice deal here at the end of the show, and I'll let the footage roll. But let me know what you think of this insane day in the comments down below. I'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, be kind.
Just spin it and spin it. What's up?
What do you got? Seeing an average of around 8 to 850, 750 cash work.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, cool.
It's acoustic. It's illuminating.
you got change, I don't. That'd be great.
Do you need some small bills? Because I could try to break some.
Yeah, I could probably do a couple of hundreds for. I got 25, so I don't have enough to break 100 for you.
I have his exact change.
Okay,
I'm just saying,
that's
like,
good,
if you need more change for the future.
I'll be good now.
Okay.
I think getting that there.
It's 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, get a picture of it.
You want the cash?
Yeah, that's cool.
Your pen.
Hey.
I got it.
Oh, you got it up?
It loaded, but I don't see nothing.
Thanks, brother. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing it the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take both if you're
Yeah,
offering,
I feel you.
yeah.
Thank you, brother.
I'll see you around. Thank you.